Hi there. Welcome everyone to our monthly product webinar. I sincerely hope you can hear me and see me well because for the last few minutes I had some unstable connection. What does that mean? That if there are any problems during the webinar with Fibery, it's not Fibery, it's just internet connection. So I hope you understand. As always, this webinar will be recorded. The recording will be uploaded to the YouTube. It will be sent to you, so you can check it out anytime. And I hope that the structure, it will take like 20-30 minutes to go through all the updates. And anytime you can drop the message here or the question or whatever. And yeah, I think that we can start. So let me share the screen. Okay, that's the most complicated thing is to share the card tab. So I hope that now you can see this incredible presentation. So yeah, what will be our webinar plan? What we're going to go through today is briefly through the import updates, because most likely you have already uploaded all the necessary data, but you can keep it in mind in case there are any other new use cases for Fibery in your team. Of course, we'll talk about AI. I mean, if there could be a drinking game with the AI, I think everyone would have one. So we'll talk a little bit about the smart agent building mode and what is going to be here next. Whiteboard, few updates with the whiteboard. And like we have improvements in variety of areas about the duplication, the new view, new widgets, new edit content. So there was like no way to combine them other than say that these are the updates. So let's start from the beginning. As always, in the beginning, we have some stats. So we had, not in May, in June, my bad. We had 4 Thursdays, 4 releases, had 34 features, 10 more compared to the previous month, and some of them were like pretty big, and fixed it almost 50 bucks. That's a lot. Proud of my team. We also have Team Cortisol of the month and Team Dopamine of the month. So the cortisol was having less than a minute remaining error for the past 3 hours for the new Macas developer beta. And the dopamine of the month was that one of our users mentioned that the ways the Notion better are all things that can be easily fixed, and the ways that Fiber is better are fundamental aspects of how you have chosen to build a software. Can't agree more. And our developer also made this wonderful meme you can see here on the right, which I definitely fully agree about because I remember some features being in the backlog for 6 years already. But yeah, maybe someday they will be delivered. So we'll see. There's always hope. Okay, about the import. So we unified it. Now it's possible to import pages content from Notion, and import permissions are based on capabilities. What does that mean? So before we had two different imports. Maybe you saw this, like it was CSV and CSV 2.0 beta. And we finally unified it, and it takes the best of two worlds. So first of all, now import can handle up to 1,000,000 rows. That's a lot. Can our system, can Fibery handle up to 1,000,000 rows? Can formula services, automations, or views handle up to 1,000,000 rows? That's the open question. But import can. It supports all kind of fields like relation, people, location field, everything. It also preserves the columns on the order on the database view, and like it doesn't require a column mapped to a name. So finally, a name can be empty. So it's a pretty powerful one. We also made it more discoverable, so you're very welcome to test it out. We also now have sync from Notion pages. So if at some point you migrated from Notion and still have there some wiki stored, that's the time to test out the Notion connector. Now we're missing embedded views, nested pages, underline formatting, dynamic dates, and we also plan in the next step to sync standalone pages. So there's a lot of room for improvement. There is always room for improvement, but this is better than nothing. And what can be important for everyone? Import permissions based on create capabilities. So that means that previously import was reserved for admins and creators. And now anyone who has the permission to create entities can import them as well. So for example, if your teammate is a submitter, it means that he or she can also import the data. So to do this, you'll have to open any new table like this. And here in the three dots, there will be like import from option, and this part will be available for non-admins and non-creators. Okay, so this is what we have about the import. Next area is AI updates. To be honest, I really love it. I mean, I love AI. I'm not that over optimistic that it will replace everyone in the next year, 5 or 10 even. But seeing how it isn't up a lot of things is an amazing thing. Oh my God, Jonas, I have connection issues. Is it true? Like, could you please? I see that I have like the internet connection is excellent. No? All good? Okay. I see thumbs up. So good. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. So in previous webinar, I shared with you like that we released a smart agent, which is trained on your data, and you can ask it generic questions. And what have we done now? We added the build mode. So how it works. First of all, to test it out, you have to go to your settings, to the experimental lab, and turn on here this experimental feature because, yep, it's still experimental. What changes then? You can go to the Fibery AI, and there is now a build section, and it can create spaces, databases, fields, migrate the data. So you can describe what you want, something like, hey, please go to the software development space and add files field to the story and bug database. Oh no, that's not the button clicked. Okay. So it can create new databases. You can explain it to the process. Something like, hey, now I want to have, I don't know, employee management. I have a lot of employees. I need to know their birthday date. I want to know when they started, when they left us. And when you explain to it what they want to build, it asks you a clarification. So it will explain to you what it is going to build. In this case, it's relatively simple. But for example, if you describe a process, it will also share with you like which relations will be created, what will be like all the details, and so you like communicate and say, no, please go to another database and do it there. So the files field has been successfully added to the story and bug part. Okay, I go to the backlog, I open the story, and I have the files here. Okay, it seems I still have some connection issues, but okay. So there is a files field here. And during the build mode, I say, okay, now create a new space for employee management. It will have employees, information about them. You can be generic pretty. It will try to guess what what you want to have. And I also want to track their information about the teams. Don't create sample data, and don't create views. So here I'm a bit more precise because it can create sample data, it can create views, but it's a bit more time consuming. So the answer from the AI builder is like few seconds up to few minutes. So I tried like, to make the answer quicker, faster, so we didn't have to sit here and look at the screen. I'll create employee management, employee, yep, team, correct. Employee can belong to one team. No employee can belong to multiple teams. So as you see, I do not confirm. I can continue communicating, and we'll see how it goes. And I think it really helps to save some time and also eases the learning curve. So even non-technical person, for example, from HR department, can make something, I know, at least an MVP with the IA builder. So, okay, has been successfully created. There we are. We have the employees. Let's maybe close this chat. Teams. We have the team. Cool, it haven't added any more fields, but we can continue. Cool. Now add necessary fields to the employee database so I could store information about them. I mean, it's pretty generic, but it still works. What are the limitations? By the way, it also can create formulas. So it's pretty smart one. So we have AI helper. Okay, that's nice. AI helper here. And you can usually explain in a formula to the AI so it could help you with the syntax, but you can also do the same with the AI builder. It also can migrate the fields. So you can say, okay, I have a single select. Now I want to have a multi-select. So please create for me another field and migrate the values and delete the old field as well. So as you see, it is creating the fields. I mean, pretty nice. And what else can it do? I can turn on the search mode and I can say, cool, now please parse website fibery.io and populate and add sample data to employees and teams based on the website's content. So if you turn on the search part, it can also parse the website's content. And for example, here it will try to populate it. I think it can try to find our About Us page and add some information about the employees. Maybe employees is not the best example, as I now understood. But if you're like a consultant, you are doing some template for the project management. So the sample data that AI generates was relevant to the segment, for example, the website is from, or you populate information about the customer, so it could past. Okay, Michael, Peter, Alexei, Ihar. It's it really took our real employees. Thanks God it didn't set the address and the birthday date because it's not a public information. But I would say that the data, the names at least, were correct as well as the position. So I think that's pretty impressive. That's quite nice. So yeah, that's the builder as it is. What are the current limitations? It cannot create automation rules. So it cannot create automation rules at all, buttons as well. This is improvement we plan for kind of end of July, beginning of August. We'll see. As for the views, it can create only tables and boards. So unfortunately, no reports for now, no timelines. This is what we hope to have maybe, I don't know, in autumn or earlier if we succeed. And that's kind of the most painful question. Can you easily revert back in case AI breaks something inadvertently? No. I mean, it's always possible to bring changes back manually. If something really big and bad happened, we have daily backups, our team, And you can reach out and we can, for example, revert the workspace state as how it was from the latest backup. It usually takes a time because there's a lot of data, developers work, but as an emergency case, we can do this. So um, I think it's not a problem if it's a good tool to make something new, to experiment, but it's not perfect yet for the domain changes, right? And you can always ask it, okay, please create for me a new field and migrate the data, then check out whether it's correct. And after that, delete something. So undelete fields is here, but changing the content is not here yet. It's also a big challenge, technical mostly challenge for us to fix. It's also somewhere on the radar, but thanks God, you mentioned this in the webinar. So I'm able to get your request and say, hey, dear product manager Michael, that's the most popular question about the AI builder. Each kind of request increases the chance that this will be something done will be uh, done. So yeah. Um, what else? We also deprecated chatbots. Instead, we migrate them to the smart agent just because it's more precise and more powerful. This is why this migration happened. And what is next? Yeah, chatbots replaced with a smart agent. This is what we have right now in progress. It's like was replaced in most of cases. We continue working on agent quality. Uh, just sometimes we still see okay. In some cases, it creates a single select rather than state field. It forgets to add a files extension. So we just like we collect requests made to the IA builder, then we manually go through them, see the results and the answers it provided, and improve its quality. So it's an ongoing work we're going through, and create an automation with AI. Something planned for the July, August. I'm really also looking forward to it. Um, is it an alternative step to duplicate a workspace? Do the AI magic there and check before they replicate it in prod workspace? I will just continue answering because it's a context related question. So it's a good idea. Here, the limitation can be that the expert of the whole workspace is limited to 1,000 records, 1,000 entities. Technically, it's possible to raise the limit, but not much. I think like up to 10K records is what we can do under the hood. I hope no one will watch the recording, but like it's unofficial, but still possible. But if you have like hundreds of thousands of records in a workspace, it's technically not possible. I mean, to move them easily. But you can always like export one or two spaces, check the AI magic, and if you're happy with it, run on the production. You also have to keep in mind that it's AI, it's not an automation, so it can do something differently still. So you decreased like the risks, right? But it's not 100% that it will do the same thing as it has done in another workspace. So like 90, 95%, I'm taking the numbers out of nowhere, but yeah, just to set the expectations clear. Almost all Gen AI tools have revert changes. That's true, but we are not a Gen AI tool. In our case, is a little bit different. So, unfortunately, revert like changes have to be done not on the AI actions, but with all the data structure like fields. And it, in fact, for Fibery, it doesn't matter what caused the accidental changes. Was it a rule that was occasionally run and with incorrect conditions? Was it AI, or like was it done somehow by someone, right? So it's also possible for the human to highlight everything in the table, then change the values, and we have still the same issue. It's impossible to revert accidental big changes. So I think that we will solve the complex problem, and AI is just one of the sources of it. Uh, this is why the problem is, I believe, on a bit different level than it has in Gen AI tools. So yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But I absolutely agree. I mean, I have my own personal anxiety about the mass accidental changes. And I know that our developers responsible for the history have the same kind of anxiety. So yeah. Um, yes. If there will be like any more AI related questions, feel free to drop them here or with the ask a question button. I will just be back to it after the webinar in the Q&A section. So yeah. Whiteboard updates, what have we changed? I mean, before we had two developers working on the whiteboard. One of those developers moved to the files initiative. So we're cooking something with files slowly but steadily. And one developer is left and he's still very productive. So thank you so much, Vadim. But Vita, we miss you. What we did already, lock unlock section, link sections to each other, add users entities to the whiteboard and batch. What is common? Better undo and group improvements. So let's go through these cases. I hope you can see my screen now. So as for the lock and unlock options, there are two of them. Lock all, it will lock both the section and all its content. Lock background only, it locks just the section itself. It's also possible to link sections to each other. So, I mean, now it's more simple. This is why, like, that ain't much, but it's an honest job, right? And add user entities to the whiteboard in batch. It was possible, and then impossible because users were moved to the default space, to the very top. So now if you have a multi-entity insert, you can choose default space as an option, and there you will see all the databases outside spaces, including users. So if it's possible, like when it is helpful. So when you have some kind of employee hierarchy, so you want to see who is the manager, who is like the responsible person, and then you want to build this kind of organization map. There are two ways how to do this. The first option is to use user database. Pretty powerful. That's it. The second option is to have a separate database for these purposes called, for example, employee. It will have one-to-one relation to the Fibery user. Pros and cons. I prefer to go with an employee separate database just because it's easier to manage their permissions. But if you go with a more simple option with users, then you can still show it on the whiteboard. This is it about the whiteboard improvements. Better undo is coming, I hope this or next week. It's done already, but in the fixing, and not fixing because, oh my God, it's in the tested stage. So there were a few bugs. This is why we're cooking it with some precision. Okay, the next thing are other updates. Find and manually merge duplicates. Let me go through that. Okay. So there we are. Right now, let's say here I have three records. They are called unique ID, but in two of them, I have the same number. So what can I do? I can edit this text field, and there is an advanced options, require values to be unique. I turn it on, but it tells me indeed that there are two duplicates found. And there are two options how to deal with them. First of all, merge automatically. Um, in this case, we can always automatically merge like rich text fields and too many relations by combining the data. The rest of the fields, they should have either identical or empty values. Otherwise, we will ask you to resort manual duplication. And manual duplication, if we if we click on it, it creates a view. It shows you all the records which have the unique ID, and the pairs will be colored to make it easier, like to distinguish it. So I can do this, I don't know, like this. Okay, and it works. It works already. So now I can do this. I think update the field, and it has to work. It worked. Now this field is a unique one. So now it's just easier to deal with the duplicates. Another improvement is Gantt view. You so Gantt view, it's very, I would say it's close to timeline view, but there are a few differences. So let's create a new view. It will be Gantt. And the difference here is that it's possible to show the same hierarchy that you could visualize before via um, lists or tables on a timeline. But timeline had only like one level of grouping, and here the level of groupings is pretty unlimited. I will just add here, not here, but I think here. Okay, creation date, like this. I mean, maybe the software development is not the best option, but now I can see the stories, bugs grouped by the release. There they are. I can also visualize the fields, both for the items on a timeline itself, on a Gantt, like this. And I can also show the details on the grouping part, like this. So this is how it looks like. So I would say that probably for simple cases, like show me projects on the timeline or show me features by product area, timeline is still a nice option. But once you need to have more complicated logic, Gantt view is coming to the rescue. You can also reorder entities vertically. So like you can do something like this, which was not also possible in the timeline. So it's handy when you want to control the order of execution better. Um, Gantt view doesn't have any backlog. It shows all entities according to filters. Planning usually is much faster on the Gantt because there you can like quickly create new items and plan them on dates with a single click. And since it is a Gantt view, each record um, it always occupies one lane. So in timeline that was in optional mode, so you could like see the records going one by one, and then a Gantt view, each card has one lane. I definitely recommend you to play around. Keep in mind that if there were any limitations about the hierarchy in table or in list, you will face the same limitations here because the hierarchical logic is still present here. So there are few like edge cases with many-to-many relations. Guns are available right now, but I believe that they are only available on Pro plan and then on Enterprise plan. That's the limitation, I think. But this is why you can go to the view and you can go to the Gantt and you'll be able to find it. Because like timeline is covering a lot of cases. If you need something a bit more complicated with more complicated logic, then we have to move it to a higher pricing plan. So there was a chance for us to grow as well as a company. Um, this is it about the Gantt chart, I believe. It's, to be honest, there's still some bugs and we're still polishing it. So if you play around with a Gantt view and you see that some behavior is pretty weird or the logic is not the one you expected, that's the perfect timing to share this feedback with us, because since developers have the full context, there's a high chance that they will improve something here. The next thing we have is what we call widget. So the My Work widget. Let me share my screen. Okay, there we are. So everyone will have a home button in the upper left menu. And here you will see like everything across the workspace, all the databases that you have access to, where you are involved. And what do we consider as involvement? Where you are assigned, where you own something, where you are mentioned in any people field. And my work has three tabs: started, not started, and finished. And you can customize visible databases and fields and filters and color coding and these kind of things. So for example, here in the items, I can define what exactly can I see. So which kind of databases? Maybe it will be more even helpful, I think, to show this tab instead. So like this is the real like work that I have. So here we have like kind of a lot of databases because I can besides some administrative work to manage some templates, to manage some accounts, customer success tasks, studies, and I can easily define what exactly I want to see right now, what I want to exclude maybe. I don't know, want to exclude the studies, so this one will disappear. So that was, I think, a pretty popular request. See everything related to my work in a single place. As you see, there is like a filter with tabs. So there are like some filters which are default ones which specify the logic. So here we see something where you are an assignee, and here you're an assignee, and here you're an assignee, and the state type is started. What does that mean? When you create a workflow field, there are three like tabs: started, not started, finished, and you can add values there. So it relies on that kind of grouping. And you can also apply your own personal filters. Something like, as for the videos, only show me those that are with a high priority. Something like this. That's up to you. Color coding is also applicable to any database or to all the databases. So I sincerely hope that it will be pretty handy, especially for not for the creators, which can be assigned to everything, but for the like normal employees, which don't have that much many things to care about. Um, And here, it's not the final iteration. We hope to migrate homepage to the like customizable dashboard. So there will be changes in terms of design. This is why if you have any feedback about that, that's the time also to share it. Um, and last but not least, improvement that we delivered. I mean, it's not the last. I think that's the last I wanted to share on this webinar, because small ones about the desktop app, for example, is not what we want to focus on. Is to share everything a user has access to. So it's our only permission update we had last month, but I think it's a pretty nice one. So here I have a user, and with the context menu, with a right click, now I have an option which is called Manage Access. And here I can see everything this user has access to. So grouped by spaces, databases, and entities. Here we have a challenge that admins have access to everything. So this page is looking so. But I encourage you to check out this on your teammates, and you can always make sure that they can only see the data which you think is appropriate for them to see, to make sure that the permissions you configured are the correct ones. So it's possible to better manage duplicates. We have a new Gantt view, but for Pro and Enterprise plans. My work widget, which is still in progress polishing, and maybe we'll have another design, but still helpful, and show everything user has access to. These are other updates that we delivered. In terms of education, we have a new template, training programs. Um, you can just check this out. It's a template for cases, I think maybe for bigger companies, when you have different kind of trainings, like, I don't know, security related trainings or certification related trainings, and you need to have like to run those trainings for different teams, for different teammates, and then you want to collect the feedback. So probably something you could also easily build with the AI builder, but since this is ready out of the box, you can check this out. And we have also new guides on permissions. I encourage you to subscribe for the um, Architects Weekly, because we sent those guides there once there is something nice. And I will be happy, like these links will be shared in the description to the YouTube video, because I think it's weird to share them somewhere here. But we prepared few guides about how to manage permissions in terms of salary management. So if I want to give access uh, about the salary data to the employee and employee managers with a few clicks and few access templates. And another guide is about if I want to share with customer information about their projects only, how can I handle this? Also with templates, step-by-step guide, pretty awesome one. Today is July, and in July, we also will prepare a very nice use case guide for turnover reports, which is very complicated but very impressive. So stay tuned. Um, our future plans is that we are focusing on dashboards because it's something that was it's like a very popular request. It's possible to embed views into the document, but it's still not the classic dashboard. So we are like getting inspirations from other tools. If there is something that you love, please share it with us. We'll give to designers for inspiration. And homepage will be migrated to it most likely. Chatbots fully replaced with Smart Agent in July because of the quality. Embed views to homepage also coming. So your homepage was something that we prepared for you, plus something that makes sense for specific person based on their preferences. Unlimited self-relations on Gantt view. That's what is planned. By the way, improved self-relation import also planned. Polishing board view. We had quite a lot of feedback about the board view that the buttons could look better, like the size, the depth, like quite a lot of. So we just designer is now going through it and making a list of small like improvements that we can deliver, like low hanging fruits. So nothing major, just small things, but still good as for me. And specify which entity view to open based on some field value. So it's possible to have multiple entity views. I mean, let me even give you an example. If someone is not aware of this feature, who knows? I think you're very pro here, by the way, already, but okay. Um, okay, so let's say this is a feature that we have, and the feature has a lot of fields. And now this feature has different tabs. Like this is why how it looks from release day perspective. This is what our QA see. This is the default one. This is for customer success. So in fact, it just shows you like the same data, but from different angles with a different set of fields. And right now, the logic is that you define which tab is default one for you. And next time you open it, it opens you the tab you lastly have chosen. And what we will need to have that the tab is defined by some value here. So for example, we could say that based on the product area this feature is about, you will have different default tab. It can be helpful, for example, if we have a customer card, and in the customer card, we have different tabs like activation, customer success, churn. So if the customer is in paid state, then default tab with customer success. If customer churned, then default tab will be churned. Something like this. That's what we are also plan to deliver relatively soon. And I'm, to be honest, very excited about this. I think that will be very helpful. In terms of permissions, a lot of is planned. It's not delivered yet because our product guy responsible for permissions is enjoying his vacation. So Anton, good luck. Hope you relax a lot. We want to make it possible to show all users who have access to a space, show all users who have access to database, allow not to extend access from space to its databases and databases outside spaces. So I think it's pretty straightforward everything. Allow not to extend access from space to its databases. It's rather like um, default access to space is viewer, but this database you still can see. So something like this. Um, and now it's time for Q&A. I see we have a few comments here. So yeah, I couldn't see build mode in Fibery tool at my end. Just a quick reminder, make sure that you turned on the experimental lab, this part here, this switcher. If you don't have such a switcher, then please ping us in the intercom. Um, and we will find out why it's not here. Since it is still experimental, you have to turn on and like give kind of access access. Like, yeah, just turn on the switcher. So yeah. Thanks for the product update stream. Fiber superb product. Yay! Thank you so much for your wonderful dopamine. QuickBase has nice dashboard configuration capabilities. That's good. Thank you. We'll check this out. I think we also like the dashboards that ClickUp is making. Although I'm not a big fan of ClickUp, to be honest, I'm not happy with their approach to data handling and to the marketing, but they still have quite nice designed features. So yeah, why say goodbye to chatbots? I currently use smart agents to summarize for me all information about customer to answer questions like why this client turned, and I would like to chat with what was generated as an answer. But smart, um, n- you can chat with smart agent already instead of the chatbot, and it will give you a better answer. So you don't even, I believe, need to run the summarizes. You can just ask it like, hi, please give me a list of all the customers which churned last month. And based on the data linked to them, uh, give me hypothesis why they churned and explain the churn reason, your decision, with some examples from their data. So it can be that generic and it will give you a proper answer. I tested it for my last month report, and I asked it like, check all the discussions in community, tell me, for example, like, oh, who was the most active participation, are those users like a paid customers or not, and how much they pay, and what were the primary topics community was worried about. Then please go to the active paid customers, check out their feedback for the biggest customers which have, like, I don't know, more than $500, and analyze their feedback and tell me what they're mostly worried about. Then please go and check me the churn part. Why are they those who churned and who was like more than who had MRR more than $200? Please formulate for me potential churn reason and whether they were active. Check out the analytics and these kind of things. And it is capable of doing that. If you have a repetitive process, where you have like similar questions on a repetitive basis, I recommend checking out, no, not this one. Um, Let me think. Okay, this tab, it will load a bit. Okay, search smart agent automations. This guide. So you can have smart agent in automations, and it will generate for you AI reports for specific customer or overall like monthly churns across the time. Something like monthly report about churn of this month, list of customers, and the reasons. So there is no need for the chatbot, I believe, for this use case. And since Smart Agent provides better quality answers, we decided to migrate that. You, um, what is whiteboard views inside experimental lab? That's a good question. Who knows? We'll see. Let me check. I mean, sometimes I enable insertion of fiber views into whiteboard. I think it's like ability to embed views to the whiteboard. I just know that this feature was not properly tested. So I'm not ready to show it because, I mean, if was not tested, it can crash something. So use at your own risk. I don't want to officially advertise it, but you can like sneakily test it out. So yeah, I'm a bit cautious. I'm happy that nothing was broken during this product webinar, so that's a good thing. I want to have a strike. Nothing was broken during the webinar. Can we get whiteboard items using API? No. I think that proper whiteboard API is Planet. I mean, planet in the wide mode. It is somewhere in the backlog across those features. Let me remind you the meme we made. Yep, this one. So it can be easily done. Will it be done soon, right? It will be done soon, right? Um, so we have it for some time in the backlog. There is no ETA because it's not a low-hanging fruit and it's very specific in terms of use cases. So polish whiteboard behavior or make it API friendly, well, the first option always wins. But whiteboard usually shows the real items, the real cards. So that means that like they live in a specific database. So maybe you can make a query to the database certain by some specific parameter rather than go to the whiteboard via API. If you want to extract their not database entities, rather some generic images, pictures, or something, thanks God we already have whiteboard sharing. It's more than even I could expect to have this year. So API is just, I think, the very next level of involvement. Yeah. Um, okay. We don't have any questions left. If someone is typing, that's the time because thank you, by the way, so much for your engagement, for the questions, and the fact that you asked for the batch undo. I'm so happy because every request counts. So knowing that it's important is a great thing to have. Um, if you have any questions or any requests, you're very welcome to join with a chat or emails or some any other channel helpful for you. It was a pleasure, as always, to have you all. I will stop sharing the screen so you could like see my face, thanking you for coming. And again, the recording will be available on YouTube. So if you want to watch something or check out like the link to the guides, you're very welcome. All the features presented have guides in the user guide. I was made sure that it has it. And have a great day, middle of the week. So a lot of things to do. And the webinar was planned for 1 hour, so you have like 15 minutes left to grab a coffee, say, no, I was watching Fibery webinar and learning so much. So yep, see ya and bye-bye.